you got?
I've got something here that is more valuable than anything I guarantee. I have a clump of rupees that were minted in 1702 by the son of the man who built the top, Muhyiddin Muhammad Aurangzeb Alamgir, otherwise known as Emperor Aurangzeb.
It took you a while to remember that, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
Okay, if this clump of coins are authentic, then they will go for crazy money. But let's be real, auctions don't lie. If nobody bid last time, what's changed? Either this seller's got a new story to spin, or they're praying Rick's the kind of guy who ignores red flags. Could be desperation, could be ego, but either way, Rick smells something fishy. These coins didn't just get more valuable overnight. So what's the play here? Hype, hustle, or full-blown delusion? Let's learn more.
They were minted in Surat, India, the ocean in 1702, and were recovered, and his dive partner.
Didn't he write a few books about it?
Yeah, he wrote 2 books about it. In fact, before he really started writing heavily about science fiction, but Scuba Diver.
Wow, even Rick cannot believe this. This isn't just rare, it's the kind of treasure that makes historians lose sleep. But here's the thing, if it's that legendary, why isn't it locked up in some billionaire's vault instead of getting hawked in a pawn shop? The story doesn't add up. The shine is real, but the context is off. And Rick, he's not just surprised, he's calculating. You can see that he is obviously mind blown.
The reason why they're in such good shape is because some iron object, most likely, and the cannon boat does.
Yeah.
Okay, everything is just stacking up perfectly for this item. The condition? Flawless. The history? Straight out of a movie. Rick's practically vibrating with excitement. But hold on, if this thing's so perfect, why isn't the seller at a high-end auction house instead of sweating in front of Rick's counter? Could it be there's a flaw nobody's talking about? Or maybe a backstory that makes this thing too hot for big-time dealers? Something's off. How did this guy even get the item?
So how did you come in possession of
The
it?
documentary with Arthur C. Clarke in 1990 signed it to me, and we've been trying to sell it.
You got paperwork on him, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it might be great and all, but Rick is still here for business. He didn't build an empire by falling for shiny objects. The seller's got that look. Twitchy, hopeful, maybe even cornered. Like he needs this sale more than he's letting on. Could be debts, could be legal heat, could be bad decisions catching up. Either way, Rick's not letting the excitement blind him. The price has to make sense, or he walks. Here's what he thinks.
These coins were minted before George Washington was born. Those days, because they were silver. The coin of the realm for the common folks, copper or bronze. By weight, pounds.
750 coins? The crazy part is that it is all silver, so it has value in that sense alone. But here's the problem. Big collections like this don't just sit around unless there's a catch. Maybe they're not as pure as claimed. Maybe they're from a sketchy source. Or maybe this seller is just so strapped for cash, they're unloading the family vault. Rick sees the opportunity, sure, but he's also seeing risk written all over it. This is a really great package, and Rick would certainly want to get his hands on this stuff.
They are still in clump. 9% of treasure coins are always individual coins and sold off that way.
It's extremely rare to have a treasure collection.
Looks like Rick already knows, even before going in, that he might have to spend a tidy sum on this item. But let's not forget, this thing already failed to sell once. That means the seller's either delusional about its value or worse, hiding something that spooked serious buyers. And Rick, he's too seasoned to ignore that kind of smoke. He's going to dig until he hits truth, or walks. So how much does he want?
So how much you want for it?
1,000 for it.
It's a lot of money.
Because we know the rarity in the world, now there's only 2.
That is right. This item may be worth that much, but selling it won't be easy and it may tie up so much business capital and end up selling at a loss. Rick's not just crunching numbers, he's playing defense. Because if he overcommits and this turns into a dud, it's not just a bad buy, it's a reputation hit. And the seller, acting like Rick's lucky just to be in the room. That kind of attitude? Dangerous when money's on the line. Here's what Rick thinks.
If I buy this off you, I got to put it in an auction, and it might take 5 or 10 years. My money's tied up for a long time.
It's an investment.
No, it's a gamble. My biggest problem here is reserve at auction.
Unfortunately, there are some things too expensive for even Rick to consider, and that's the real tragedy here. This seller's sitting on what could be a gold mine, but their greed, or maybe their bills, just price them out of reality. The deal's dead before it starts. Now they're walking out with nothing but a bruised ego and a missed chance. Rick stays smart, and someone else learns a hard lesson. Up next, we have a mysterious coin that comes packed with a lot of crazy stories. Let's check it out.
Hey, how's it going?
How you doing, sir?
Good. What do we got here?
I got something with George Washington face on. Really tell you, from George Washington, the man had wooden teeth.
It's definitely something. It's the wrong color for a quarter.
Just 5,000? The thing about coins in this pawn shop is that they either cost too much or cost too little. This coin will either be worth a lot more than 5,000 or be worth a lot less, and that's the trap. Because when someone asks for just 5, you have to wonder if they're bluffing or clueless. Are they lowballing themselves or hiding how badly they need quick cash? Either way, the stakes are high. Let's see which it is.
Technically a coin has a denomination, and this doesn't have a denomination on it. George Washington, 1797. 1797 was last year's president. Whoa, the back of it.
Good news and bad news for our seller. Bad news, this isn't strictly a coin. Good news, it seems to be something even more mysterious. And we know that mystery sells a lot. In fact, mystery is what turns pocket change into collector gold. But here's the twist. Like, if even Rick's not sure what it is, then we're in uncharted territory. And uncharted territory? That's where legends are born, or deals go to die.
All their little weird stuff on there, the all-seeing, the square and compass, and a bunch of seen before. I'm really, really intrigued by it. I mean, there's something really weird going on right here. I mean, this is quite a treasure.
Looks like Rick, who is an expert in coins in his own right, also doesn't know what this coin is supposed to be. That is why he has an expert come in to check. Rick doesn't play guessing games when real money's on the line. And if he's calling backup, you know this thing has potential or danger. Because sometimes calling in an expert doesn't just confirm value. It reveals secrets the seller didn't even know. Now, here is what the expert thinks.
This young man has something really intriguing.
If it's real, it's a
I
fantastic.
just thought it was some kind of metal or something. When you look at the back, these Masonic symbols all over the back. Am I going to get killed for having this coin?
It's an exceedingly rare item.
The one that started everything? Now that we know that this could be an extremely important Masonic penny, it looks like our seller will never settle for just 5,000. But let's learn more, because when the story shifts from random old coin to foundational piece of secret society history, the price doesn't just go up. The seller's confidence skyrockets, and suddenly 5 grand looks like lunch money.
They were struck in 7 by a silversmith, and Peter Getz belonged to the Pennsylvania law. He knew George Washington. They're right from Crucible.
The good news just keeps piling on and on and on. Collectors love this stuff. This coin in particular is part of America's deep history, and it looks in great condition. But is it real? Because here's the catch. The more valuable something sounds, the more people try to fake it. And when there's a legend attached, that's when scammers get bold. This thing is either a jackpot or a really expensive fairy tale, but is it real?
This is genuine. It's marvelous.
Cool. So I got 5,000 reasons to be.
This thing is worth a lot more than that.
That's now you're talking about.
The universal language.
So what do you think it's worth?
This piece right now certainly is going to be worth $1,000.
Our man walked in here looking for $5,000, and now he might get even more than that. So what will Rick be willing to pay? Let's see, because sellers change when dollar signs start dancing in their eyes. 5 grand felt fair when it was just a maybe. Now that it's a hot item, this guy's confidence is booming. But Rick's wallet doesn't open just because someone gets excited. Let's see.
You still want 5 grand?
No.
I'll give you 20 grand for it.
It's kind of a lowball number from what the.
I mean, it's like this. I mean, I'm gonna have to put it in an auction. I'm not gonna get paid till next year. I go like 23.
Nah, I'd probably take my show on the road because they say good things come to those who wait.
Okay, it is rare for people to basically ignore Rick's attempt at lowballing, but this man is driven. He has just gotten a free valuation for his coin, and now he is going to try to get someone to actually pay what it's worth. He came in playing humble, but the moment the expert spoke, he flipped the script. Now he's walking out with leverage and a number in his head, and Rick might have just priced himself out. Up next, we have a coin that costs $30 million.
There is one coin that is considered the holy grail of coin collecting, the 1933 Double Eagle $20 gold piece.
You would think the holy grail of coin collecting would be older than 1933, but age isn't all there is to coin collecting. There is mystery, there is intrigue, there is rarity, and there is condition. And the Double Eagle hits the jackpot everywhere. It's not just the date that makes it iconic, it's the drama wrapped around it. Scarcity, beauty, and controversy, that's the triple threat. And this coin brings all 3 to the table like a mic drop.
Oh, surprised the little light didn't shine out when you opened the bag.
It did. It did.
Wow, it's just incredible. It's the holy grail.
The most valuable coin in the world.
That's amazing.
Yeah, he had a point, but this coin isn't ugly at all. But beauty isn't the only thing going for this coin. It also has the most incredible story. We're talking scandal, government seizures, secret trades, and big money drama that feels more like a crime thriller than a coin listing. It's not just about looks, it's about the baggage that comes with it. And in this world, baggage means buzz.
Okay. And there was an artist
Augustus St. Gordon.
in 1907. He designed, literally considered one of the most beautiful coins ever made. It's funny that
Wait, what? This could actually be a contraband? That is crazy, but it somehow gets even crazier. We're now talking about a coin so hot, it's technically illegal to even own it. A coin that vanished into the hands of collectors, only to be hunted by the government like it was a stolen artifact. And that's the wild part. The moment rarity crosses into criminal, that's when value goes through the roof.
Of every coin that's ever come out, this is the only one that they've legalized to be owned.
a lot of the times, it's not only rarity, a lot of the times it's the story.
The story.
Yup, this coin was right in the middle of a huge FBI investigation, and dealers were arrested over it. But these dealers didn't just let the FBI get their way, they fought back. Hard. They lawyered up, doubled down, and turned this into a courtroom showdown that made national headlines. Because in the world of high-end coins, a little legal firestorm doesn't scare collectors. It fuels their obsession.
The hope was that the coin was legal to be sold and to be legally owned. It was then auctioned in June 2021 and sold for almost $19 million.
$30 million? For a coin that just sold for $19 million a few years back? That is insane, but that is exactly how this business works. Value doesn't move slowly here, and it jumps, leaps, and explodes when the right buyer enters the room. And while Rick doesn't have that kind of cash sitting in a drawer, he's got something just as good, a big.
What do we got?
I have an ancient Roman coin that I think you'd be interested in.
Let's take a look at it. You know much about it?
I know it depicts Noah's Ark, or a scene from Noah's Ark on one side of the coin and a Roman emperor on the other side.
Yeah, a coin in the 3rd century AD depicting Noah and his ark would be extremely rare, especially as it would have to be a Roman coin. Why would the Romans make such a coin? That's the million-dollar question. It doesn't add up at first glance. The Romans weren't exactly out here making Sunday school souvenirs, so if they struck this coin, it had to serve a deeper purpose. And rare plus strange, that's when things get interesting fast.
How much you looking to get out?
I like 50,000.
Okay. Do you mind if I call someone and take a look? Sure. Let me text him, get him over here.
50,000 for this coin? That is a lot of money, and Rick usually pays big money for items worth it. But will he really take the leap for this item? Where did they get this coin from anyway? It's not like this kind of artifact just turns up in a cereal box. Someone either got very lucky, or they're spinning a tale Rick's about to unravel. Big price, big mystery, big risk.
Private collection less than a year ago, and this was one of the coins.
Okay.
Howdy, Rick.
Dave! This is my buddy Dave. He's the rock star of coin world, believe it or not.
How you doing?
That is interesting, but why would the Romans strike a coin with Noah on it? There has to be some special reason for that, right? Well, here is what the expert thinks. Because coins weren't just money back then. They were propaganda, political statements, power symbols. So if Noah made it onto Roman silver, there's a deeper game going on. Maybe myth, maybe politics, maybe something even stranger. Well, here's what the expert thinks.
In the city of Pamia, which is in today's South Turkey, and what's interesting, most of these Roman provincial coins, they combine Roman authority and local culture.
Okay, that is certainly interesting. That explanation makes sense. The coin wasn't really in service of Jews, but in service of Noah and the Great Flood. And now it is time to check if the coin is the real deal. Because history or not, story or not, if this thing's fake, it's worthless. And Rick isn't just buying legend, he's buying metal. So now it comes down to the one thing that makes or breaks the deal: authenticity.
My God, this one's real. That's the great news.
Okay, what do you think it's worth? Because this guy wants 50 grand for it.
Anything biblical on a Roman coin, it's exceedingly rare. There aren't more than maybe 20 or 25 known total.
$250,000? That is a long way from 50,000. But the condition of this coin isn't that good, so Rick will definitely not offer a price that high. Maybe he will just pay the man his 50,000 and let him go? Let's see. Because when the expert throws out 6-figure numbers, egos get involved fast. But Rick, he keeps it cold. He sees the flaws, the wear, the risk, and he won't get sucked into a fantasy.
You take 30,000 for it?
You know, after hearing all that, I'm going to stick with my 50,000.
I mean, when you're talking this really rare stuff, you never know what it's going to go for at auction. But if you want 30,000, I'll pay 30,000.
Go to 45, but that would be
31.
That is insane. Rick still didn't offer $50,000 regardless, but our seller knows what his coin is worth, so he walked away. Good for him. Up next, we have what some are calling the rarest coin in US history. He didn't cave. He didn't fold. Even with Rick lowballing like it's just another Tuesday, the seller stood tall, and that's rare in this place. But will the next seller be as steady when the real big money comes out?
Hey, how's it going?
What's going on?
What do we have here?
It's a 1927 D double eagle coin.
Really?
Yep.
Okay, where did you get this?
So my mother got this from her mom. It's been in our family since like the 1940s.
$500,000? First of all, what are the chances that Rick would pay anyone $500,000 for a gold coin? Very low, right? Well, let's see. Because $500,000 isn't just a big ask, it's a challenge. It tells Rick, I think I've got something legendary, and Rick's got to figure out if it's the real deal or just ego and shiny packaging. One slip, one flaw, and this whole price tag crumbles.
St. Gaudens. The designer of this coin was Augustus St. Gaudens. The D stands for the Denver Mint. In 1927, the Denver Mint made 180,000 $20 gold pieces.
Oh, I think we can see why our seller thinks this coin should be worth $500,000. If it is as rare as Rick thinks it is, it could be worth even more. But it gets better. This thing isn't just gold. It's layered with history, power, and prestige. It's got the weight, the origin, the look of something special. Rick's interest is real, but in this business, when the value climbs that high, so does the risk. And sometimes reality hits like a hammer.
Do you know how much Grandma paid for it or anything like that?
Actually, to be honest, I'm not too sure where she got it from.
Okay. The second you said you had a 1927 D St. Gaudens $20 gold piece. I mean, I've been in this business a long time.
What? The coin is fake. That is insane. He really thought that he would walk out of here with $500,000, and now is probably going to walk out of here with nothing. And Rick goes on explaining. You can see it on the seller's face, from confident to crushed in seconds. It's the kind of moment that makes you wonder, did he know? Was he scammed? Or was this all a gamble from the start? Either way, it's game over.
So it's gotta be worth something.
I mean, there's $1,800 worth of gold in it, but it's just not for me. It's not real.
All right.
It's worth the gold value. That's it.
He thought he'd struck gold only to discover that the entire thing was fake. And now for an item with a lot of value. A necklace made out of gold coins. From chasing six figures to licking your wounds. That's the roller coaster of pawn shop dreams. But this next item, it's the kind of piece that might just bring redemption. Because when real gold walks through the door, everything changes.
You must be Jeff.
I am.
My dad said you were coming by. I guess we buy a lot of coins from you.
Yeah, we've done a lot of coins in the past, and I've got something that I think pretty magnificent. See what you think about it.
That is the value of the coins alone? $250,000 is a lot of money. But this is Corey, not Rick. Maybe he will be more willing to make this deal? Let's see. Here is what he thinks. Because with Corey, you never really know. Sometimes he plays it bold, sometimes he plays it safe. But $250,000 decisions aren't just about price. They're about gut instinct. And Corey's got to decide fast. Is this the kind of risk he wants hanging over his head?
One of the things that they premiered during the Paris World Fair in 1900. That particular World Fair was, kind of out with the old, in with the new, hence the old coins, new jewelry.
Good call, Corey. It's hard to evaluate the value of items like this, so it just makes sense to call in an expert who knows what these sort of items should be worth. You don't toss six figures around without backup. And in the pawn game, experts don't just verify value, they give Corey leverage. If this seller's overhyping, the expert's going to slice through the fluff. If he's right, then the pressure's on.
I know this piece, and I know this guy. I was at the auction where he bought it. This thing is astonishing. When you get a piece of this caliber with so much history, it has all the ancient history from the coins.
Would you look at that? $250,000 is exactly what our seller is looking for. But the Pawn Stars are never going to purchase an item for its retail price. Here is what Corey thinks. Because no matter how clean the appraisal, no matter how confident the seller is, Corey's not going to drop full value unless there's serious upside. And sellers always forget, Corey's job isn't to break even, it's to profit. So if there's no wiggle room, there's no deal.
Take $200,000 for it?
No, I can't, and I don't want to sell it for less.
Here's the deal, my man. If I give you $250,000 for this, I gotta sell it right away, and I gotta sell it quickly. $250,000, I just don't think there's much of a profit there.
The thing about it is so unique. I think for the right person, price really wouldn't be an object.
Yeah, this is one experienced seller who isn't going to change his mind. He is going to sell this coin for $250,000, and that will be that about that. And honestly, you've got to respect it. He came in knowing what he wanted, stood firm under pressure, and walked out with the same number on his mind. But that kind of confidence can cost you if you overplay it.
Sure it's not mine? Because I'll take it.
This is a 1879 Stella, a $4 gold piece that was never issued to the public. The reason they call it a Stella, see the big star on the back?
Yeah.
Stella is Latin for star. Incredible coin.
Up next, we have the same dude, but with a different coin. Interesting. It looks like we are about to have a virtual negotiation here since the seller can't make it to the store in person. Let's see what this coin is all about. And right off the bat, that sets the tone. Long-distance deals mean fewer signals, more risk. Rick can't read body language, can't feel the seller out in real time. It's all on the coin to speak for itself now. And in this game, if the story isn't airtight, Rick's not biting.
Jeff, how's it going?
Doing good, doing good.
So we got it.
Good.
So where did you get this?
I got that from a client, person I've been dealing with for a while, and I've been looking for a Stella for quite a while, and when it came across my desk, I knew it was a coin you might like.
It is all coming together for this coin. It is rare, in good condition, and has a great story. Maybe this time Rick will strike a deal. Let's see. The pieces are lining up. Rarity, provenance, a narrative that collectors dream about. But even when the stars align, Rick's mind is still on margins. One flaw, one exaggerated claim, and the whole thing collapses. He's been burned before. This coin better deliver more than just a pretty backstory. Let's see.
$100,000 for it.
Would you take 90 grand for it?
No, I couldn't do 90.
91?
I could come down to 95,000, and that's that's a great deal for a coin that's usually almost impossible to find below $100,000.